Good morning everyone, Janie here. Welcome back, and I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Welcome back to my January garden tour. First off, I just wanted to give you guys a quick peek of my cut flower garden and my very first bloom, Anemone Black Eye. I was super excited to see this, and I've taken a million pictures, so you guys have probably already seen it, but I just wanted to show it again. So my plan is for this year is to have a garden tour every month of the front yard, backyard, and cut flower garden. There's not much to see in January, but I love garden tours anyway. I love seeing what's in bloom. I love seeing what's not in bloom. I love seeing winter interest. I just find it all interesting, and I like seeing other people's gardens. It's kind of like peeking behind somebody's back fence. In addition to posting these narrated garden tours, I'm also planning to post garden tours that have music only. So if you guys want to just look at some pretty plants, read the names of the plants, and listen to some nice music, I have those as well, and I'll link them in the description below. So now on with the garden tour. First off, I'm showing you guys a winter view of my crepe myrtle tree. This tree was here when we moved in, and we moved in January 2 years ago, so it looked just like this, and I had no idea what was to come once it started blooming during the summer. It looks like nothing now, but you guys just wait, it's beautiful. Underneath that, I have my cool flower sown FOXGLOVE CAMELOT mix, and those seeds I grew from seed, and those will bloom the first year, so I'm really excited about that. Right next to that is some calla lilies. Those were also here in the garden when I moved in, but I transplanted them into the front here. Here's some more FOXGLOVE CAMELOT mix that's blooming right now, and you can see how happy they are. Just in front of the foxglove is the lamium ground cover. I talked about this in my November garden tour. And then I wanted to show you guys this accidental mix of this bright chartreuse green lemon coral sedum, the silvery blue silver of the lamium, and then the green of the cyclamen right now. I'm probably going to pull that out because it does look a little messy, but I just thought that mix of colors was beautiful. I planted this lemon coral sedum as kind of a hedge that I can grow right up my walkway, and I'm planning to clean it up a little bit more to make it more look like kind of a boxwood hedge, but right now I'm just letting it grow as much as it can so that when I go in I have a lot to work with when I trim it up. Right above this breath of heaven, I just wanted to show you guys another look at my multi-trunk crepe myrtle tree. I'm just so excited for it to start getting leaves again and start blooming. Here we have some foxtail ferns that I just think add so much winter interest in my garden. It's like they've come alive during the winter. They've really gotten this bright green color, and that's mimicked by the lemon coral sedum. Just behind these ferns, you can see where I installed my espalier for my star jasmine. I'll link that video up above if you missed that video. And I just think it's going to look so beautiful once the star jasmine starts growing up the wall, surrounding my number sign for my house, and then has the ferns right in front. And you can look just to the other side of my walkway. I have another very large star jasmine, and my plan is to have kind of that cottagey look where the star jasmine is kind of just taking over and growing in and out of all the nooks and crannies of my house. Star jasmine usually blooms for us in zone 9B right around Mother's Day, and I'll never forget that because this big plant I got one year for my Mother's Day gift, so it has some really sentimental memories for me. Just inside my gate, you can see my Camellia japonica, Mrs. Tingley, and you can see the buds are there, but they haven't broken open yet. I'm afraid this camellia is not getting enough sunlight right now. I planted this last year right around the same time, and it bloomed really well, but it might just not work in this spot. So I might be transplanting it. We'll see how it goes. And you can see here's my third star jasmine that's climbing up this post right here, and hopefully will intertwine with the other 2 star jasmines that I have in the front. And here I have a couple pots that I have some winter annuals in, some violas, and then some purple alyssum behind that. And then here is an evergreen that I bought at Green Acres, our local nursery, and I'm sorry, I still don't know the name of it. Over here are some white cyclamen and then also some Johnny Jump Ups that I sowed from seed. They're not doing great, but I think it's just a little too early, but I do have one bloom. Of course, is my English ivy espalier. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about my garden, and I think it just adds so much. Just to the right is my Wichita blue juniper. I have another one of these in the backyard, and I really like that silvery blue contrast with the green, the dark green ivy. Here's a limelight prime hydrangea. The color on those was absolutely gorgeous in the fall. And then right where I'm pointing right now, I planted a couple peonies in the fall. Peonies don't do great here in Zone 9B, but I'm going to try them this year. Here is an excellent shade perennial, if you guys aren't familiar with it. It's Pulmonaria, also called lungwort, and it does have little pink and purple flowers that come out in the spring, but I just like the foliage. I think it's a really pretty, interesting foliage pattern, I guess you could say. Just over here, I have this tiny Tough Stuff hydrangea. Not looking good right now, but I think it's nice to see it in its winter dormancy, and then we can see what it looks like during the high season. So during this tour, I noticed on my flowering maple some chlorosis, which is an indicator of not enough iron for a plant, and that's that dark green veining with the light green surrounding. So I'm going to have to put some iron on that plant, and then I also am going to put some soil acidifier because we have pretty alkaline soil, and I think that might be part of the problem. So in just about a week or so, I'm going to be cutting back all my ornamental grasses, including this Vertigo Pennisetum. I'm a little nervous about cutting this guy back because it is so huge, but it's ready to be cut back. Right next to my Vertigo Pennisetum is my Miscanthus Cabaret, which is going to be a beautiful grass as recommended by Laura from Garden Answer. That I need to cut back as well. And climbing just above that is my Clematis Armandii, if I said that right. And that should bloom pretty early spring in these beautiful white flowers, so I'm excited about that. You guys can see the metal arch from Kinsman Garden Supply that I added this month. I'm so excited about it. I keep finding myself peeking out the window to look at it because I just think it's so pretty, and I just cannot wait for these Eden climbing roses to climb up it. I was reading how fast these Eden climbers will grow and how tall they'll get the first year, and I read they can get to 10 feet the first year. So I'm a little skeptical of that, but you know, fingers crossed. Wouldn't that be beautiful if they got to the top of the arch this year? As we walk down the sidewalk on the side part of my house, I live on a corner lot, you can see the bed where I had the plumbago just going crazy. And one of my projects this month was cutting it all back. And I'm so happy I did that because it allowed me to take a better look at the area and really get a good idea of what I could actually plant there. So I have big plans for this garden bed this year. I'm very excited about it. This garden bed is also part of our property. I haven't done much with it because it's hard to get to. It's hard to get a hose to. I would really like to add in a gate right at the fence right there. And it's also underneath an oak tree, so I have to be careful about what I plant because I don't want to overwater the oak. Last year I had some foxgloves right here, and I let them go to seed, and I kind of shook them out all over the place because I wanted more foxgloves there, and I think those are foxglove seedlings. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'll be watching those closely. And here we are back at the front of my house, and this is one of my favorite vistas of my house because you have the best view of my annual swoop border. That's what we call it. I don't know what else to call it. It's a swoop, it's an annual bed, and it's a border. And you can see we have daffodil shoots starting to come up, which is so exciting. So these are trumpet yellow, and I'll show you guys a picture of my daffodils last year, and you can just see how beautiful it is. Last year I underplanted with some purple pansies, which was beautiful. It was such a nice contrast between the bright yellow and the deep dark purple. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that this year. I probably won't, but it was really gorgeous last year. And this sad looking plant is a Shasta daisy. I think the earwigs and the slugs have gotten to it, but you can see it's fighting. It's got one little bloom coming. So I baited for slugs and snails and earwigs with my Sluggo, but I don't think I got to it in time. I think I'll just cut some of that back and it will grow back, no big deal. It's a really, really hardy, strong perennial. Right over here, this dark plant is a Chinese fringe flower, or loripedilum, and the blooms are just starting to come out. They bloom very, very early spring, late winter, and it's just this pop of pink that's really, really gorgeous. And then during the summer, we have the dark foliage of that plant to contrast all the other plants in the garden. It's really beautiful. In my last front yard garden tour, I showed you guys this verbena that I didn't know the name of, and luckily one of you wonderful viewers, Snarla99, let me know that she thought it was a verbena de la mina, and I think she's right. I think that's exactly what it is, and I'm so happy that I know the name of it now. I was reading about it, and this plant is actually from the coastal areas of Santa Barbara, which is just so fantastic. And now that I know a little bit more about that plant, I really love it. Here I have my Spanish lavender that I never cut back, and so I'm planning to cut that back after it blooms this year. And right next to that is the Mystic Spire Salvia. And you can see I have one bloom. I really love this bloom. I'm not going to cut it off. The great thing about these blooms is even the calyx is a deep dark purple. So once the blooms fall off, it's still going to be gorgeous. So I hope you guys enjoyed this January front yard garden tour. Not much to see as compared probably to the rest of the year, but I think it'll just be so wonderful if I have a record of what my garden looks like each month this year, and then we can see it from start to finish. If you enjoyed this, please click to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in another video very soon. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you get a chance to get out and garden today.